Hello, hello, hello. Hey there, everyone. Welcome. That was it's just I kind of want to make it a thing. If I do, I don't always find something, but I want to make it a thing to like share some small channel that I found some cool stuff on. I mean, even if like smaller. When I say small channel, I include myself and other channels like even bigger than me that are still small. Anything under a certain amount is kind of a small channel. But in any case, this is a small channel by a YouTuber called Puppet P. I'll post the link in the chat, so that should be visible to those that, because they rewind the chat or whatever. So that's Puppet P. The last two songs are from their channel. They do some pretty cool tracks, Vocaloid, like horror Vocaloid stuff with original art and things like that. I like me some of that stuff. So I just wanted to share it really quickly. I'm a horror guy, always born and bred, all that kind of shit. But I like when stuff has a nice amount of emotionality combined with some interesting horror elements. In any case, welcome. It is Schizoid Saturday, and I do have submissions today. Thankfully, actually got some. I guess this question worked for whatever reason. I still haven't quite figured out what makes a question work and what makes a question not work yet, but it is what it is. So the subject of today is sort of what I put in the description, or not the title, I mean, inanimate connections, inanimate connections, which is kind of like, makes me think of, or I'm trying to kind of refer to inanimate objects. Right? And something I found really interesting that I'll often see on like the server, the Zoid Void, for any schizoids out there that don't know about it, check it out. It's on Discord. The Zoid Void might be your cup of tea. There is a application process, and yeah, it's not too difficult, but it makes it quite apparent what your situation is and if it's conducive, the place conducive to you. In any case, I mean, from our guess, we try our best. I asked a question about how, well, here, let me actually just read aloud the full question. I'm actually pretty decent energy levels. I'm surprised, honestly, considering how absolute shit my sleep was. Let's see here. Yeah, the question I had for this week was, do you possess any physical objects? Jeez, wow. I put, do you possess any physical objects that you have placed even a minor level of emotional connectivity to? Anything from a plushie or a specific copy of a book to a greeting card or a photograph, right? Oftentimes I've heard schizoids, whether, they're posting for themselves or just rambling about something, or, posting something in one of the no reply sections or whatever. Or when they're posting like images of something that they have or they own or whatever. And I always found the schizoid really interesting because they oftentimes attach themselves to either really, really dark things in dark places, or really, really wholesome things and adorable things even. And often they're purveyors of the collectible. So it might be something like plushies, or it might be something like certain action figures, or maybe certain variants of a book of science. Maybe it could be anything, right? It's something that some object that they have some kind of connection to, far more than a person, right? On average, right? At least for now. It's not forever, in my opinion. But point is, I would absolutely be one of those people. Growing up, I've actually now been able to establish actual solid human connections and stuff. Took me a while, a lot of work, a lot of pain. But point is, prior to that, all I really had for most of my life were these kind of emotional connections I had to were essentially inanimate objects, right? And so that and concepts, I was able to do and integrate into my kind of internal world and all that. But for example, I grew up playing nothing but like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, things of that nature, right? And I had a strong emotional connection with a lot of like the cartridges I owned, a lot of my collection. films, but mostly the cartridges that I still have a ton of. Um, and like whenever I would add to that collection, um, it wasn't like so much of a completionist thing or like, oh, I want to have all of them. It just felt right. Something felt emotionally cozy or conducive to seeing that stack of Nintendo cartridges. Probably because I was raised by Nintendo cartridges at home most of the time in many ways. Um, that's what I spent most of my time doing, is reading books and playing Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. So, but seeing the pile, that stack of cartridges, or even the boxes, because I have the boxes for some stuff, it just brought me some kind of feeling of comfort. I'm not sure, and it wasn't just like something, to me at least. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong, but to me, it wasn't something as simple as just nostalgia, right? Because a lot of the times when people talk about nostalgia, when they're feeling nostalgic, uh, they're referring to the objects reminding them oftentimes of people, places, and things. Well, usually people and places, or things. The things remind them of people or events in their life associated with people and their interactions with people and memories about people, right? And it's like, I mean, my daughter's like that, right? She has like she loves plushies. She has a shit ton, way too many plushies. And she's 13 now, but she's just really has it. And a lot of them she's had since she was little. And she can pretty much name you um where, like, she can not name, but like she can tell you where each one came from and who gave it to them and what it was associated to, and like, and things like that, right? That's definitely not something I can do. So I'm glad they can. Um, but my point is that for me it wasn't really about that. It was the objects themselves that I was emotionally connected to, even if it felt a little bit like stunted or not fully like strong, right? There was still something there, and I was connected to those objects, those piles of cartridges, those piles of comic books, um, those stories. I was connected to them, and I discovered how deeply, um, only not long ago, because I usually took care of my stuff very well. Right? I got dusting and stuff, but I would occasionally take it all out, dust it all off, put it back. It would give me a chance to peruse the items, whatever they may be. And um, recently there was this bin. We had these bins because for a while we didn't have room for all my junk, as my my wife might call it. She wouldn't call it that. I'm just kidding. But I had so much stuff, and so I had to have it in these like plastic bins. And we kept the bins outside because there was just no room at one point, right? There was just no room, and we had to even put like a tarp over them so that if it rained or something, like it obviously, so water doesn't get in, whatever. And it was like that for a bit, and when we finally made the room, had the room to readjust things, move stuff around, whatever, we got the bins out, and I was taking everything out of them. One of the bins was compromised, and that bin was essentially full of stagnant rainwater, right, from some time that it rained like a few months prior. And everything else was fine. Everything else survived. But that one bin, just the water landed just right. The tarp didn't cover it just right. It was cracked in the right spot. Whatever it was, it was filled to the brim with stagnant water. And so I had to yank it out of pull it out. It's heavy as shit because it's full of water, the bin. And I had to just pour all the water out and had to basically find out what was in this bin. That pretty much everything inside of it's ruined now. And when I poured the water out into the grass, it stunk, obviously, because it was just stagnant water. And out of it were essentially uh, the majority of like the accessories that I had for a lot of the old consoles and things like that that I had. So, like controllers and wires and adapters and all kinds of stuff like that, right? That was like sad. But the one that hit me was, it was also like half the bin was a bunch of DVD anime collections that are pretty much just like out of print now. For stuff like Boogie Pop Phantom and some Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, and all kinds of different things, right? And they were like collector's editions, or they came with like little cool inserts and all kinds of neat things or whatever, multi discs, blah blah blah. Um, and yeah, and when I saw that, like just seeing them all just destroyed like they were, uh, I felt a lot. Like I was pretty like devastated by it. And I didn't realize, like I realized in my mind, like, oh, if that happened to my stuff, I would be pretty upset. I'd be like very upset and annoyed. But I didn't realize to what extent I would feel it. And then I saw that, they're all misshapen, warped CDs, all fucked up. Like these things that I kind of had some cherish for, it's just absolutely destroyed, just ruined beyond any reasonable recovery. And in the best way I could describe it, because my wife saw like how it affected me, like, right, and I think it took her a little bit to just be like to think, oh, it's just a bunch of stuff, right? Like, because like for her, she has objects that like she cherishes, such as like like all our children's, like when my oldest, all her baby clothes, right? She keeps it in a bag. Photographs of her growing up with people she knew, family members, things like that, right? She has like she cherishes those objects, and so maybe in her mind, she's like, well, I already know my husband was kind of a hermit, and already somebody that like didn't really doesn't really have a lot of cherished memories about people or anything. Like, couldn't you just rebuy some of these things? Like, well, first of all, no. Some of them you couldn't, and if you did, it would be far more expensive now because like they're out of print. But there were memories associated to it, right? I was hurt by seeing these destroyed, but the memories were with the objects themselves and my interactions with them and how they built upon my internal world that I had constructed all by my lonesome for most of my life. And I explained to her, it's like if that like thing of like one of those like albums that you have photos that like you care about. It's like if that got destroyed. If like that got covered, just destroyed, all the photographs, everything in there just got eradicated. Like that's how it feels to lose the spin of these things. Um, I told her I felt, it feels like, I don't know, like my pet died. Like I'm not gonna be crippled by it, but I'm gonna feel pretty awful this weekend over it. So anyway, I just wanted to tell that story. I'm not sure if I had for a long time because that's the question. The question is about inanimate objects and how we can become emotionally connected to them, but kind of from a more schizoid perspective is what I wanted, because I hear these things, right? I feel like there's a lot of schizoids out there that have cherished objects, maybe not cherished people too much, right? I now have cherished people. I've had cherished people, which are my kids and my wife, but I now have cherished friends, which I know sounds disgusting to some of you out there, but it's something that I've learned to do, and not forced to either, by my standards and in the ways that make sense to me, my neurodivergent ass. So, um, I'm going to go ahead and move on to some of the submissions, to the question of what sort of objects are you emotionally connected to? And I got a few of them. So I think it's going to be somewhat interesting. Let me get some tunes though, just some something chill in the background. I can go with I can go some oh actually yeah, some of this will be good. Lower the volume. There we go. Lower that a little bit more. Oof, that's loud. There we go. Okay. So let's see. Do I have anyone in the room with me right now? Nope. It's just me, Solo Dolos. If anybody wants to jump in, I'll be in the Angst live stream channel. If anybody wants to jump in and talk about the subject of emotional connection to inanimate objects, as mild as it may often be, why you may have objects in your life that you cherish more or have been able to connect to more than almost any human you've interacted with throughout your life. Hence, you know, the old schizoid defenses and traits and such. Yeah, let's go. Been some slow Saturdays, but luckily a lot of people end up watching it later. Like, I'll only get like 40 views, like, for the stream itself, but then by the time I put it up, it'll end up being like 130, 140. Sometimes higher, like some got like 200. I guess it depends on the subject or whatever. And I look at the average watch time, and it's pretty good. So whoever's tuning in, they're watching a good portion of it, so I guess that's good. All right, so for the first submission to the question regarding connection to inanimate objects or objects of some kind. And remember, guys, when you submit them on Dear Angst, on the Dear Angst channel, it's only available to the schizoids that are in, because I want like answers that are schizoid specific if possible. I don't read out the usernames, right? I'm the only one that can actually see what's submitted. It goes to a channel that only I have access to, not my mods, not my devs, nobody, just me. And I can see the usernames, but I don't really care about them. I'm more into what is being said, so half the time I don't really pay attention. And it's also a good thing because I don't read them out loud. So if you want to submit something for a Saturday, it will remain as anonymous as I can possibly make it. Okay. Dear Angst, I have a stuffed black lab that one of the old Toys R Us brand plushies. Plushies already, see? I got a plushie, but I got a plushie. Give a fuck about. This is HP. Had it for years. That's an HP Lovecraft, yes. So let me see here. She's a little deflated in the middle because it's been like a decade since she's been restuffed, but it's perfect for me to use her as a pillow. I got her when I was 3 years old. And I often think of like a plushie you've had for years. Like I used to have, and I still have. I actually gave him to my my oldest daughter, so because she has plushies, so I told her what it was about, and she likes when I give her stuff that was like something I cherished when I was little. Like I don't know, she finds it really cute, I guess, or really makes her feel cozy. So I gave her this little rabbit. It had little suspenders. It used to have a little carrot on the front of it, but that's fallen apart over the years. It's gone. And it has these little blue eyes, and it's a tiny little bunny. From what I remember, I got it on Easter when I was like a little kid, and I had named him Arthur. That was his name, Arthur, the bunny. And I remember I would talk to the bunny, and I would have little weird divergent kid combos with it and stuff. Probably participated in that more than I did with a lot of people. But in any case, that was Little Kid Angst. So I get the childhood thing. I don't obviously have that connection really to him, but I think it's still a little bit there. But I wanted to share it with my daughter, so I think she established a different kind of connection with a healthier one probably, because she actually has people in her life that will understand her. Let me see here. Next one. Dear Angst, just one. A Velveteen Rabbit plushie. It's 2 plushies. Wonder how many we're gonna get. That I got on my first Christmas from my late grandmother. Everything else was used against me by my parents, so I learned to let everything go. The only place I ever had that could be considered safe was inside my own mind. Anything beyond that could and would be used against me. All right. Yeah, that's... Yeah, in my case, I didn't really have shaming, guilt parents. So I really get angry when I hear about people growing up with parents that would like literally use the fact that they, pay for things and raise you and give you things against you. It's pretty disgusting, but it's a common practice. Dear Angst. So here they reiterate the question. One would be my car. It isn't a beauty and is older than me, but it keeps on running. I do feel bad for it when something breaks on it, and I try to fix it ASAP. Another thing would be old computers. I feel bad for them when I see them abused and thrown away. I also like to fix them ASAP when they are ill-maintained, and stretch their legs so they are not forgotten. But this is probably just my tism thing. By the way, praise the machine spirits. Of course, praise the machine spirits. They're real. But, yeah, regarding that, it's interesting because it could be a tism thing. Only because I have heard a lot about that, and it's an interesting thing. About, some of the autistic side of things, Zoids on the autistic side explaining how, like, they have, like, more, like, they feel, like, more effective empathy for, like, objects that are, like, misused or mistreated or abandoned. So something like an old computer, some old CRT monitors that work just fine, but no one maintained them. Nobody took, the 20 minutes to, keep it alive or functioning. And yeah, there's something kind of tragic about it in some people's minds. I understand it. I don't feel bad for every abandoned object I come across, unless it's an abandoned object that I associate to something I was that is like integral to my own internal world, things like that. So maybe in that case, I don't know. Let's see here. Let me look at chat real quick just in case y'all are posting things. Wow, none of you. Impressive. Few people watching, but yeah, interesting. Next one. Dear Angst, I've got a lot of plushies. That's 3 plushie ones. And I miss them more than people. Granted, the bar isn't too high. There you go. Short and sweet. Dear Angst, I do possess various physical objects that I value highly, but I wouldn't say there is a deep emotional connection to any of them. My emotional connection stems from its familiarity, continuity, and place in my daily life rather than the object itself. That's kind of the same thing to me because I understand what you're talking about. That's why I guess maybe I should have worded it better, but like trying to include all that context into the question would have made it like far more convoluted. But it still counts to me. right? I get it. It's not like it's the reminders, but honestly, I would argue it's the same thing for um, like other people, non-zoids, you know, neurotypical people and objects, right? It's just a different association. It's a different thing that you're connected to. For them, it's usually like an interpersonal connection or memory of some kind associated to the object itself. For me, again, the object is a symbol of something that I integrated into my internal world, imagination, and you know, morality and ethics, and God knows what else. Right? It's something that is a piece of what has constructed whatever it is that I am. So uh, it's still, to me, it's like, oh, it's an emotional connection to the object, even if the object only works as like a catalyst, a medium, transistor radio. I don't know. But yeah. Okay. Next one. Dear Angst, I get weirdly sentimental about certain objects. Collecting things like energy drink boxes, bus passes, things about stuff I have some interest in slash care. There are certain items I can't stand to have others see, let alone touch, and it really messes me up when they do. But I wouldn't say I have any possessions that I have a deep emotional connection to. That I'll a little pushback here, but like, if you're sentimental about objects and it really messes you up if other people see them and touch them, that sounds like there might be something there. Just my opinion, but yeah, whatever. But see, even the most cagey, deeply personal things I own, I've replaced without issue. Whilst I can get really freaked out when some of my items are messed with, it's never irreplaceable and priceless. Okay. All right. Interesting. So there's a different thing going on there. Okay. I appreciate this question. It's actually been quite interesting to analyze my life in that framing. I hadn't quite considered that one can have items with that sort of emotional connection until now. Yes. And like I've told other Zoids out there, being emotionally connected to an object or a piece of art or a book or something an author wrote, it is a means to connect to your a species, be it through a proxy. It's still connecting to humanity, and it might be a very niche, very outlier version of humanity, depending on what it is that you've attached yourself to, but nonetheless, it is your fellow humans. Perhaps the more the less egregious parts of it experience, but who knows. Next one. I have two more. Oh, actually, one more. This is one long one. Dear Angst. Oh, and by the way, if any of you want to submit one still, go right ahead. Hopefully I'll catch it before, or if you want to share it just in the chat, you can do that. I'll read it there. If you don't mind, other people seeing that you post there, whatever. It depends on the person and all that. But I know most Zoids don't really like Zoids are usually like either they're indifferent to attention or they are aversive to it. So, or indifferent to being seen or aversive to it. It's usually one of the two. It's very rarely, I would say, an enjoyment comes from it. Let me see here. Dear Angst, I have a few stuffed toys. That's four stuffed toy things. I feel kind of emotional connection to. I hug them for a kind of emotional support in times when I'm consumed by irrational fear-based thinking / delusion. I feel a need to give a fair, equitable amount of attention to each, which is definitely reflective of how my parents failed to do so and treated me as a secondary or disposable. I use them as a tool to maintain a sense of safety and calm during meditation. Another point is that this is relatively new development. I was only interested in connecting to stuffed toys in the last few years as I started making legitimate progress resolving the SCPD symptoms, and safety became something that may potentially be possible, and the toys helped me develop that. Say 5 to 6 years ago, I was 100% convinced safety was not possible, so my focus was on self-protection. uh, instead. The idea of developing a perspective of true safety in the world seemed ridiculous and infeasible at that point, so using stuffed toys was uninteresting. Old world perspective pre 2020 was I'm in danger, safety is a trap. Okay, fine. I accept that. I have strategies. I'll use it in perpetuity to protect myself from inevitable danger and pain, regardless of the secondary detrimental effects. New world perspective post 2020 is more like safety may, possibly, potentially, maybe actually be possible now due to the variety of life and perspective changes. But I'm gonna need to drop the compulsive self protection stuff, self abandonment, subjugation, withdrawal, distrust, emotional detachment, etc. Plus, develop a sense of assumed trust and safety in others and the world. Long story short, the soft toys helped me a little bit with internalizing that new word perspective. That new word perspective. Okay. Wow, that was a really interesting one. Really good to hear that they are making progress toward being able to feel safe in the world. And I definitely I'll go ahead and assume that most schizoids out there they don't feel very safe in the world they inhabit, and not necessarily because like the world is like gonna like they're gonna find me and they're gonna kill me or something like that. That might be the case with some people, but more like safety to like be yourself, safety to like communicate, safety to not worry about like all these seemingly inevitable conflicts and problems that interacting with the external world seem to constantly hound you with, especially when those things are never intentionally provoked. And in fact, some of those things might be considered good from a conventional perspective, but to the schizoid causes nothing but distress or depression, anxiety, so on and so forth. Anyway, well, that was interesting. That was a good read. See here. Oh, Don posted in the chat. No emotional attachment to anything but my house, a product of my mind and my wife and I built together. Nothing left from childhood, not pictures, anything. All right. That's good. It's something to kind of ground your mind and sense of self too. It's pretty useful for that reason. Sometimes there's that part of myself, like I was mentioning with this little bear that I have had for many years, HP. So like, let me put this. Like, I have him. I know what he represents for me. I don't have a lot of need to like want to hug him or anything like that. I just kind of chills next to wherever I usually like station working, like doing stuff, whatever. And but I like knowing that if I wanted to, I could hug HP. As silly as I may feel doing so. Let's see here. Attachment to things in childhood was always a vulnerability and disappointment because it was subject to taken away. The only exception was music after I left home. I can see that. HP definitely came after my childhood because I got HP in like my early 20s. I'm 40 now. The bunny though, I would say the bunny that I had since I was 3 years old. That one, Arthur, I still cared about him. Like I said, I'm just happy that my daughter wanted him for her collection of piles of plushies. It's crazy how connected she is to it. But what I love is that like she's connected to like all her plushies emotionally for like healthy reasons because they're reminders of me, mother, grandmother, friend, some fond memory of some gesture of kindness or generosity that was given to her that she likes thinking about maybe. those are for me. Those like I'm glad that she's not emotionally connected to them because like she's finding solace in them in objects instead of people. Um, I think that's good. Um, and yeah, that's a good thing. Um, hmm. Well, I was trying to think of what else I can discuss regarding this matter. Do any of you have any questions about my relationship with objects? You would like to tell me about yours, or your lack thereof, or you have a question about anything else I do on the channel for the server. By the way, summer is almost over. I am excited because when summer ends, my seasonal depression and um, overall lethargy, it's like a reverse seasonal affective disorder I get during summer, is alleviated, and I will have far more energy, um, especially since I'm working full time as well. I'll have far more energy to actually get back to doing interviews, posting videos on the channel, not just streaming. I'll still stream, but I'll try to dedicate more time to doing that sort of stuff. And there's stuff that I want to do with the NPO thing that's taking forever because California is a piece of shit when it comes to snail mail and trying to, like, I submitted something and then it got rejected and then I have to like submit it again and I have to call the people that help me do the filing. It's just like, oh my god, why? So I've been like kind of putting it off because I haven't had the mental energy to tackle it. I was hoping it would be able to run a lot smoother, but anyway. Have you ever tried using them for meditation? That long reply was mine. Oh, okay. I've never tried using them for meditation. Usually I don't really meditate. Um, I don't do a lot of meditation. I tried that for a while. How do I put this? I mean, I think I meditate, but not like in some like intentional way. Like I get into meditative states when I kind of just like zone out and then just kind of float into my head or something, or if I'm like tired and I close my eyes and I like enter this half asleep sort of state, but like just like drifting in and out of thoughts and stuff. I don't know if that counts, but yeah, I don't. I've tried to just like meditate, you know, like an intentional act, and I don't know. I have a tough time with it, and that's probably because of the, you know, the ADD. So, um, but have I ever used an object? I mean, maybe because like, okay, I just thought about that. Like there's objects that like I can be smell oriented. So like there's certain objects that like might produce like a comforting scent or reminder, and it'll kind of put me into a weird headspace. So I kind of use an object, but oh yeah, trying too hard. Yeah, but it's because in my case, it's just like I my brain is just like stimuli, and when I don't get stimuli, I just start thinking about things, and I start filling in the void with like images and thoughts. It's really hard for me to like empty my mind. It's my brain will just fucking refuse. But like I said, that's, and it makes me uncomfortable too, because like I'm so used to like always having shit flying around in there. I think, to some degree. So, it's not for everyone. Let me see here. I wish I could have an emotional attachment to objects, sort of a fetish to help connect some dots to my mostly blank tapes of childhood. Um, yeah, I mean, it can still be done, right? It's like, for example, uh, because I was sort of like disassociated from a lot of my feelings in connection, like I didn't really think about my emotional connection to the objects, right? It wasn't something that I sat around thinking, oh, I have such an emotional connection to all these cartridges and all this nerd shit. Like, I didn't really like. If you would have asked me that like, I don't know, a decade ago, I would have been like, what? No, I just like this stuff. It's cool. Right? Like I wouldn't like. It'd be like I just find it interesting and I like it. Just like collecting it. Like that's probably what my response would have been. But but now like that I can see it. Like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And yeah. So I don't think it's an impossible thing to do with objects you currently have that you maybe appreciate but don't fully grasp necessarily why you appreciate them. And I think that was the difference is like I was able to grasp it. Like I finally was able to go, this is why I care about this. And at first I felt pathetic, weak. It made you feel vulnerable. Like, what is like, irrational attachments to? They're just objects. It's all subject to entropy. Like, what do you care? Well, you already have it in your mind. You don't need the physical object and shit like that. But I don't know. I don't know. So I just learned to calm down and just appreciate the physical object. It's okay too. It's okay too. Like I have some like mangas I really like, and then I'll still grab them sometimes, and I'll just smell them, and I like old book smell too, and I'll just look at some of the images and get little reminders. Probably get stuck on a chapter I already read, and then go back and put it back on the shelf or whatever. Just like I don't know. It's really fun for me to go back and like that's been the trippiest part for me. One of the weirdest parts is a big old nerd is that now that I've in the last few years like become more what's the word? I've been like discovering things in the old schizoid void and attaching and creating connections and being more like in tune with my emotionality is lame as that sounds when I say it out loud. But going back to objects that I appreciated or enjoyed in previous years, and then having this kind of newfound perspective, it's really like it's made the things that I enjoy far more enjoyable, like so much more enjoyable to me. Like it's crazy. Like I can go back and like I could play like I don't know some Nintendo game I really liked or some PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 game. And then like I want to actually share it with people and be like, look at this and then talk about it, break down my thoughts regarding it and it's like really it's a good feeling. It's a feeling I didn't always it's not something I'd always do. Crazy. It had to be in my mid 30s before I started doing it a little bit, and then now I can like really do it. Look at my old ass. Mm, 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 mm. Like one of the things that I do pretty often now is like before how do I put this? Because it just feels so lame. I Before I used to just say, "Man, I like showing people things because those things are cool," and I think that one should perpetuate cool ideas. Like that's what I would say about like why I like showing people movies, why I like showing people video games or sharing sort of experiences with media, music, hearing their opinions and thoughts on the matter, getting new perspectives. Like why I enjoy doing that. I used to very much intellectualize it, but now I understand like the sort of emotional component there. It's like it's about kind of sharing like some aspect of the human experience that's taken some form that makes sense to me and that I appreciate. And then uh using that as a catalyst for communication and connection with people that I show it to. Um in a language that makes sense to me. Right. That's a language that makes sense. Even if they ultimately like hate the thing I showed them or don't like it, I that's fine. I just move on to the next thing because there's so many. There's so many things. There's so much. But like that's in the last, I would say, like the last 2 years, I've really coming to terms with what that's about, like why I enjoy it. And I don't talk about it much because like I feel like it would make other people, other like Zoids and stuff that like participate in those types of things with me uncomfortable. But I'm not placing it on them. It's not some weird like, oh, now I expect this person or these people to be here with me too. No, it's like if it happens, it happens. When it does happen, it's good. I enjoy it. You don't have to. You don't want to. You don't have to participate. You don't want to. There is no obligation. But when it occurs organically and naturally, and it's a decision being made by the other person out of their own kind of volition, then I enjoy it. I get something good out of that emotionally. Blech. It sounds so fucking. It's like I hate talking about it like that because it just sounds so gross to me. But then I go like, I have to, because how am I gonna get any of these motherfuckers to explore these things that are yucky and disgusting to deal with? Right? But I know has helped me significantly. Um, yeah. The only thing that survived from my child is a framed photo of me holding my sister. It jogs some memories, but not emotions.
Meditate.
Wait, hold on one second. My little one's coming to see. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My 4-year-old likes to come in here, jumping around, pretending they're a cat.
I was asking if you meditated.
Oh, sure. Let me turn you up. I don't know why you're so quiet. Speak up again.
I was asking if you meditated.
Oh,
Or if you meditate.
no. Well, I mean that's what I was asked in chat too. No, I've attempted it. It doesn't work. I can't. It's just my brain. Maybe I don't know. Maybe now with like ADHD meds, maybe I can do it or something because I'm taking some new ADHD meds. But yeah, like in general, like I've tried so many times, and I always end up like falling asleep and dreaming, or get caught up in a bunch of weird thoughts or images, or I start like focusing on like my brain starts making images out of the darkness of like closing my eyes. Like I would even sit in the dark and try to put myself into some kind of meditative state, but then like automatically like the darkness starts creating images inside my mind.
Well,
Hold on.
what did you try to use it for when you did it?
Sorry about that. My oldest daughter had questions. What were you saying? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, what were you saying? Can you repeat that? Apologies.
What did you try to use it for?
Oh, what did I try to use it for? Anxiety. Anxiety,
So when you were
existential
stressed,
anxiety.
you started to meditate.
Well, I was trying to find ways to calm myself, to find sort of a more internal sort of peace, because at the time, especially, it was just a lot of tension in my mind, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stuff. So I thought, oh well, people say it's good for you. people, there's proof that it works for a lot of humans. So, and I attempted it for a while. It was also I was interested in combining it with some like more like occult efforts and things like that. Um, but yeah, it just I don't know. It was just nothing. There was just something I really couldn't do, at least in that kind of way. I would say.
I've been told that it would help with disassociation, being able to basically focus on, well, thinking about nothing,
Hmm.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean that I've heard that too. I've just never had it like function for me that way at all. Oh shit, Nomo, is that you? What's up, Nomo? Welcome to the stream. Just listening in. Let's see. Uh, uh, uh. Wait, what? Talking about? Oh, is it like too late? Oh, you're just listening in. All right, well, welcome. Nomo, or they're formerly Nanomo. I still call them Nomo because I can't. That's what I know them as. Wait, you don't have permission. Oh, yeah. Let me get you that. Oh, that's right. I thought you were already on the fucking. Just join the goddamn server already. Just reapply or whatever. But anyway, let me give you the okay here really quick. There we go. All right, now jump off and jump back on. There we go. You should be audible now.
All right, hello.
So,
Hi.
so just so you guys know, can I put you on blast for a second, Nomo?
I don't mind.
Okay. So, let me see here. Let me just get this shit up. Why is this not working? Sorry. There we go. Okay, so Luciel, here, or as I know them, Nanomo or Nomo, they did like the art for like a lot of the stuff you see, like the server banner, the channel banner, my PFP, the little character dude with the masks and the void face and all that. That's brought to you by this person right here, and they have a new piece they gave me that I want to put on the channel, but just again, volition is a bitch. Gotta make it happen. All my energy's just going into parenting and work at the moment. So, but anyway, welcome, Elmo. What's up? Do you know? I know you know about the subject that we're talking.
Yeah,
100%.
that's part of why I hopped on because I can't speak. Inanimate objects are something that I tend to vibe with. I'm not sure where to start on that. I suppose I
Well, I
can
mean,
just say that.
you make your own. You modify a lot of stuff. I know that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But like, do you have any? Well, can you name an inanimate object or two that is particular importance?
Mm.
I know you are a plushie fan as well. But
Well, I'd say nowadays it's less so plushies and more so something like, I mean, this is probably a common one for people, but like a necklace. It's about the only jewelry piece that I wear like 98% of the time. And it's just
I imagined
it's
like
like
an
an
old.
orb
I
one,
imagine like an old lady necklace. Go ahead.
like an old lady necklace.
Yeah, like some like really big, like I don't know, yeah, because you have like eclectic, interesting tastes. That's why. Anyway, continue.
You talking about like the Titanic necklace?
Yeah, something like that, like some Titanic looking necklace. But anyway, go ahead.
Is
Sorry for
that like
interrupting.
a huge stone or something?
Yeah, it was like a stone with a necklace, or like a pearl or something, or pearl type thing. Anyway, but go ahead. Sorry.
A bit too formal for me, but uh, yeah, this is just, it's like a chime necklace or harmony ball necklace, it can be called. And it has like a smiling sun face on it, and on the back it's a moon, and it makes like a little wind chime sound.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
it's simple, but there's enough detail on it that I enjoy it. but I like the sound most of all. But it's, I have a connection to it because of the way that it means something to me in the sense of like, I like the symbolism of the sun. You know, the sun is usually a sign of light, happiness, health. You know, it can be a lot of things. But for me, it's just a reminder to, I suppose, just try and be a good person. And that's my connection to it.
Mm, well, good. That's it. It's interesting. And would you say is connection is to things like of this nature? Would you they're a lot easier and you find them with them a lot stronger than well people that you come across in life?
Like, I apply more sentimentality and symbolism to the object than most, is what you're saying?
Like to is it easier to do with an object than it is to do it with a person? That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I I wanted to mention this aspect of it for me, though,
Yeah,
is
do it.
that I tend to, you know, uh, when it comes to like fashion and whatnot, obviously I'm into like Edwardian stuff. But the thing is, when I actually interact with antiques of that time, I feel a lot more connected to it initially than I ever do with people. So like I can see, you know, definitely like just find an antique out in the wild and recognize like when it was made, how it was made,
Hmm.
and like all these little details that I'm interested in that make it easier for me to connect to it. And I just want to like take care of it, kind of like a child, and like conserve it for the future if I'm not going to do anything with it myself, like wear it or whatnot.
Hmm. Could you could you explain like where that's stemming from? Like, what is does it feel like? Because like I was like somebody else had said in one of the responses that they'll fix up computers and tech like old tech that looks abandoned or worn down or not taken care of. Is there a feeling of like wanting to protect these things?
Yeah, I'd say so because I've I've seen when they aren't taken care of
Hmm.
or they're, you know, like upcycled into some horrible looking jean jacket and it just hurts. It hurts the soul.
It's like a form of animism almost. It's interesting. Um, like so when you said up, do you mean is that like when people like get like an antique and then like take it apart and use it to make some new shit, or what do you
It
mean?
can be essentially, let's say you find a scrap of, I don't know, lace and you add it to a jean jacket that's only like 10 years old, but that lace is like 20 years old or something. It doesn't really matter. It's more about just getting random old shit, or it could be new shit, and just putting it together into some amalgamation of clothing, which oftentimes I've seen doesn't look too good, but that's just me.
But you have like a sort of like does it trigger some aversion or some kind of almost disgust mechanism seeing it like and how it's being applied or used?
Yes, it does. I don't like it. I There's no taste.
There's what does that mean? Like it feels like there's no aesthetic, like all the aesthetics been drained away from it, or
Like there's no there tends to be a lack of flow, or there's just it just doesn't look right together. Either it's the shapes of the patchwork or the colors are off. It can be a lot of things.
interesting. Is any are any of those things conceptual, like in nature, like not just like oh, there's a physical wrongness about it to the way it looks, but something like more symbolic in your mind about what bothers you with it?
It depends on, like, if it has something in it that I can connect to or relate to, or just know where it's from. If it's just obscure, oddly patterned, patchwork pieces of fabric that don't look to be from anything old and anything I'd be able to connect to, I would say that it doesn't bother me much, besides just I don't like how it looks,
Yeah,
and
got it.
but it's just, just not my thing.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to interrogate you on this stuff. Just really interesting. Hold on, let me look at the chat really quick here. Let's see here. Don said, never could reach true stillness. Got to some passive state a couple times. Sometimes a very focused state, but most of my mind won't shut up. Yeah, feel ya. Bone cone. Meditation can make me feel worse at times, especially if I'm anxious. Makes me feel unreal. Existential dread can bring on a panic attack if I'm stressed or hungover. Karyotype. Everything I cherished as a child is gone. I really want to cherish my DS and my PSP. One I traded in, the other I took apart and didn't fix. I also cherish reading, I guess don't enjoy it anymore. I have only one thing I cherish now, an origami star a former friend made me in college. She was the closest friend I ever had. I keep it inside a sturdy metal watch case in my closet. Thank you for sharing that shit, Karyotype. Really fucking good. Interesting. I don't know,
What
something
does
about.
what does cherish actually mean? Like, if you lost it, you'd be devastated.
Yeah, I would say that that'd be a pretty good. That'd be a pretty if it got destroyed or mishandled or if it got lost. Yeah, that it would be it would make you very unhappy with that occurring.
But
Yes.
something you could recover from, with time, right?
But yeah, well, I mean, it depends on how deep that connection is, I guess. But yes, like I recovered losing those objects that I was very sad over the weekend losing. It's the same way as like somebody will recover from, like hopefully recover from the grief of a lost pet or something of that nature. Um, but um, but yeah, it's I would say it's similar. So yes, I would say something you cherish is something you definitely would be very unhappy about losing. And depending
Okay.
on how much you cherish the thing, the amount of damage it does to you psychologically will vary. Like, I cherish my children. Now you can imagine how much and how much devastation it would cause my psychological makeup to lose any of them. Um, but in any case, now that I think about it, I do kind of cherish me me Switch a bit. Oh, the Switch! Oh, hell yeah! I still got mine. But if it was lost to me, I would be devastated. Yes, especially since that friend and I parted on negative terms. Ones which we'll never find closure for. Okay, there you go. But anyway, I had one more question, uh, Nomo, if you don't mind, regarding this.
Sure.
Um, have you ever? Because I've had this happen, so I don't know if you've ever experienced this. Um, but have you ever walked into an antique shop or some place like that, some place that would have a lot of really old shit that you're kind of maybe you're excited to just go through peruse, right? And you've never been. It's like a new shop, a new place, or whatever. Like, have you ever walked in and seen an object um, that almost like it's almost like it called not called you, but like you see it and you like don't fully understand why, but something about the object just um gives you some kind of flood of even of temporary feeling, like it's just this thing, like have you ever had anything like that or
Um, yeah.
okay.
When I first started going to like antique shops, there I would get very excited when I saw like Edwardian boots,
Hmm.
because that was around the beginning time when I got all interested in that stuff. And I got so excited, I like pointed my finger at it, and the fucking leather flaked off, and I I felt so bad. I was like, no, I just like hurt an antique, the thing I
Well,
admired so
like you
much.
pointed at it, like where you touched it when you pointed at it.
Hmm.
Oh, like I'm guessing you were looking away and trying to show somebody or something, maybe. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
was.
pointed, and then you ended up like touching it and chipping some of the leather. Oof.
Yeah, it was very aged and distressed, so that leather was just flaking off.
And what was that feeling? You said you felt bad. What was it?
Well, I just felt so horrible because, like, this is a piece of history, and I kind of feel a draw towards antiques that are of my interest because I feel I respect them more than most people do. I like respecting the people who made them in the past. That's really what it comes down to for me, is that I feel a connection to, you know, our ancestors who made them because I understand how they made them. And I can respect that because a lot of the old stuff is just so much more quality and passion. Like the way they hand embroidered these intricate patterns on their skirts over and over, and there's just so many small details about that that add into the connection that I feel with these objects.
Yeah, it is interesting. I obviously it's not the same kind of thing at all. As some of you may know, I have a unused master's in history, so I do appreciate myself some historical shit. So I can totally vibe with that. I think there's I can see the tragedy in how there's certain um, trades or art or like uh, not trade. Would it be a trade or um, arts skills, skill work that is essentially like lost to time. Um, and the only people that keep it alive are like the handful of weirdos like you
Hmm.
that keep it alive, which is I really respect and think is cool. Like people that still are out there, like being blacksmiths, and
That's the
stuff like
example I was thinking of.
what happened? Oh yeah, you were
That's the
thinking of, yeah, blacksmithing. Yeah, or like or people that do like clocks, watches, watch work, like like intricate watches and gears and they make their own stuff. What part of history was the mastery? It was for me it was Cold War. Cold War lead up to Cold War type stuff. Just past World War II, and intelligence agencies
Hmm.
from various nations and propaganda as well. Things of that nature were really fascinating.
Did
Social
you
engineering,
see
things like
that
that.
Netflix? They just had like a 9-piece documentary about the Cold War that was pretty interesting. You should
I
check it out.
haven't watched that one. I doubt it's going to have too much in it that I haven't gone over, but it's still always
Probably
fun. And so
they
I'll
dumb it
still
down,
check it
for
out.
general audiences like me.
Yeah, yeah, that's why, but still fun. And sometimes they'll have really cool stuff, or sometimes like little things will pop up in there. But yeah, there's some pretty heavy, detailed books out there on the subject. I forgot the name of it exactly. I think I still have it right here. I read it. It's been a while since I read it. But... Yep, it's right here. This is like one of my. This is a great one. An oldie but a goodie at this point. Yeah. The Global Cold War. That's a good one. But I always forget his name. I don't care. I'm bad at remembering authors, but Odd Arn Westad or West. It's a Westad book. It's a pretty interesting. There's a lot of people that like, there's issues. It has some left leaning stuff in there. And it's like, whatever. I just like some of the information in there, and it's more focused on proxy war stuff. So it's the way that like various nations were used by both the USSR and the United States to push forward their agendas and things like that. And how intelligence agencies were involved in a variety of things like that. Like that kind of shit's just like the clandestine stuff and propaganda and social engineering is really interesting to me, and the way the science was being exploited for the purposes of like ideological and political warfare. Like that's just crazy as shit. Like to me, it's insane and horrible, but it's interesting. Um, it's like my version of true crime, you know. I guess like there's some people that like really enjoy getting into the mind of a killer, and I guess like this is my version of that on a more meta scale. Um, but oh, I kind of went off on a tangent there. Hopefully that answers your question there too, Winter. Um, no, what I about the objects thing, that's not, it's not quite the same, obviously, because you're talking about Edwardian and shit. But like there's like this. I was talking about this the other day. I'm gonna end the stream with this silliness, but so there's like a little piece of media history that's gonna be kind of just forgotten, except for a few weirdos like me and a few others, or like Zoomers that are into like old shit or like older shit, like you know, slightly older shit. I'm not talking about, but like recent older shit. Um, like DVDs, right? Like DVDs, maybe some Blu-rays now, still some of them have it, but no, no. It is where the DVD era was at. Everyone's always talking about the VHS. Yes, I appreciate it. There's plenty there to appreciate, but the late '90s, early 2000s, the DVD like stuff. There's something. Some people might go, "Oh, what's the point? Like, who cares? Like, you know, everything's on streaming now. You can just get it on your computer. You can pirate it, whatever. Like, oh, you can watch any movie. It's all out there, right? Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I'm a big fan of being able to have access to any film I want, essentially, or show, for the most part. But there are certain things in the DVDs that are sort of literally being like lost to time. That were specific to the DVDs. So examples, right? If like because they're not, for the most part, they're not being recreated or like digitized into a different format to like archive them. But a good example would be DVD menus. Right? So the menus sometimes would have original art. Sometimes they would have you know, original music or something for some of these collections, or weird stuff like that. The bonus discs, right? They would have you know, stuff you could probably find in pieces like lost scenes and whatever. But sometimes they would have things like animatics that are really hard to find. They would have like additional weird like works. Like for example, if like the director had something they made in like high school that they never that they didn't put online, they didn't put anywhere else, but they put in the DVD and the extras. Like it's like literally the only place you can find it. Um, there's also commentary tracks, right? So that's something I really enjoyed, but like it's just gone. That's just not even available anymore for the most part. Because the streaming services sure as shit don't have that kind of stuff, right? So there's a few exceptions out there, but it's mostly all lost. Like for example, almost every movie I have, all my horror films and stuff, but almost every movie I have has like a director or either the producer of the music or the musicians or director or maybe an actor or two that was in it. They have like alternative tracks to the movie in which you can kind of still hear the movie, but you hear the person literally watching the movie and talking about the scenes as they're being shown. And I'm talking for like the full length of the movie, if it's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, right? So you have like the director just talking about their kind of their methods, their ideas, how they approach this, how they tackled this or that problem, a few anecdotes, some goofy, funny shit, whatever. But that's just gone. Like, where's that? Where's that being archived? Like, there might be an archive out there that I'm unaware of. Some weirdos trying to gather that stuff together. If they are, well, fucking God bless them. But there's just a lot of really like stuff like that I think is just going to be permagon, especially once it's like like the physical copies are just like in a shelf somewhere, like me. or destroyed, or just subject to entropy, and nobody ever like uploaded them to some other format, right? Like there's a lot of stuff like that. Um, that I think is going to be lost, and I don't think that era is going to come back. I don't think there is going to be that this alternative track for like, oh, you want to hear the director talk about their like B movie that they made that became a cult classic, and it's like 2002, and they're talking about like current events of the time and then integrating it to their conversation of the movie they made. One example that's actually really fucking funny, but I think it's like, unless you have a copy, it's just not. I've tried looking for some of this stuff, but like there was a old anime OVA called Pet Shop of Horrors, right? It's pretty good. Classic shit. Fun stuff, really weird. And the DVD version came with a commentary track uh for the English, the people that did the dubbing, right, for the English version, and that was like one of the funniest fucking things I've ever heard, like on as far as a commentary track, because like literally, like the people that worked on it, like one guy fucking hated the process, and like just like all the people that he was working with, and how it was a fucking mess, and like half the time they're just bitching and complaining, and it's really funny, and they're making jokes and just talking shit about like the show or the anime itself. Very amusing stuff. Another good example is Clive Barker. If you have the DVD version of Midnight Meat Train, very funny commentary track in which Clive Barker is just hates the studio because he thinks it ruined the film, and like forced a bunch of shit he wanted in it gone. And so like all he does for like the hour and a half it plays is just bitch, complain, and ramble and rant about how much he hates the studio. It's really fun. He's like he just goes like, see this scene right here? They fucked it up. They fucked it up because I wanted to do this, but then they told me it looks like shit. It looks like shit. Like, it's so funny. It's really funny. So yeah, stuff like that. Lost time. I don't know if anybody's uploaded the Clive Barker commentary track of Midnight Meat Train that you could sync up to the movie itself to have as like a, that's probably gone. I've tried to look for some of this stuff. I can't. Right? Because I don't want to pop out a fucking DVD player, and like I don't have a DVD player. And most computers don't even have a disk drive anymore. They used to come with like DVD players. Like, it's just that's not there. So yeah, pretty weird shit.
I found that really wild after I had to like get a new computer a couple of years ago, because the first one I ever had a DVD reader
CD
and
reader,
a
DVD
burner as
reader.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, none of this shit,
And
because they're kind of irrelevant for the most part.
well, sometimes things still come with CDs, and I just when it has
Really?
it, I'm just like, what the fuck am I supposed? Yeah,
What the fuck?
like
What's
the
coming with a CD anymore? Like new? Comes with like a
yeah.
download code or
It
something. Like an
it
AOL
was
discs coming in and shit.
it's oh, fuck, what is it called? It's a net like a come on, brain, like a network card or something. It's for the Wi-Fi. Wireless
Came with a
for
fucking
Oh,
desktop,
so it
and
just
CD.
has
it
has
came.
a driver in it essentially.
Yeah, but like, why
Yeah, it
why would
came
they
with
put in
a
a
CD
CD? Like
driver.
every website for every all the drivers are available. Like on like any of the manufacturer websites, like they'll just have a list of drivers there. You just download it.
I don't
So it's
know. Maybe
funny that it
maybe
came
you
with a
live out
fucking
in the
disc.
boonies, man.
Gotta archive that shit. Speak for yourself.
Maybe,
Yeah, you
maybe
archive that shit.
your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, karyotype. Archive that. Make that your life's mission. Archive every Blu-ray and DVD you have to your computer, and then propagate it. Make some torrents that people can download from. I do not condone piracy, and make sure those fucking DVD menus and those Blu-ray menus don't disappear, man. Some people put a lot of love into those fucking extras. They did, dude. It did like elaborate. Like they would have like little CGI animation transitions and shit, just because like, oh, the menu, and they would look kind of cool, and they would be like aesthetically cool with like the style and subject matter. I remember like I thought the Stir of Echoes DVD menu was cool because it had like jump scares in it. Like it was cool. Like it would just like sit and just like be like buzzing and stuff, and then like it would have an occasional jump scare. And I was like, wow, that's cool. They just put jump scares in the fucking DVD menu, scare the shit out of like some person that just leaves it playing in the background. Yeah, there's a couple things that did weird shit like that. They used to do DVD Easter eggs. Like, so there would be secret shit. Yeah, there'd be secret shit in the menus to the DVDs. That was fucking awesome.
If you like scrolled off the menu or something.
Yeah, like you would scroll off the menu and it would light up like what are the letters in the fucking title or something. Or like some shit like that, right? And then it'll like you'll play it and it'll have like some either it'll be some weird Easter egg, like some weird lost scene or something that they only put in that set. Or it'll be something like an audio track of like the fucking people that worked on it just saying some dumb shit. Stuff like that, or it might be just art or dude, but some of them were crazy, like good. Like some of the Easter eggs and some of the DVDs were like, oh shit. Like I would have somebody come and be like, hey, check out these Easter eggs. They're fucking awesome. And then you'd sit down and be like, you know, check these out. Look at this fucking extra shit in here. It's pretty bad. And so every time I got a new DVD, I would just like fucking be scrounging that shit, trying to find stuff. And sometimes I would. It was like kind of like an experience. It was fun. Again, another experience that was like now gone. Like I don't see how it's going to be replicated. Something like a menu is just redundant for something like a movie now. So tragic shit, man. Tragic shit. I sound like an old man. Get with the times, old man. It's just like, you know, I like the new stuff. There's some stuff that's just not gonna be there. And it's the same thing with books too. A variety of other things, magazines, a lot of weird shit, a lot of weird experiences.
Gen Alpha has like the patience to read at this point.
Yeah, they do. That's what's weird. Zoomers, no. Alpha? Yeah.
Alpha is after Zoomers, right?
Yeah, that's like the newest, the youngest. That's like my daughter. Yeah, they're weird. Like, and I love it because, for example, my daughter is 13 and her friends, and she's kind of a nerd. She's a nerd and she hangs out with her little nerdy crew of people or whatever. But they're like super into, like they know about shit that I grew up with. That was like old internet culture shit. Like if I tell my daughter, oh, like she never, like I think by the time she was like more actively online, like Flash was over. Like there was no Flash shit. The shit was done. Like Flash, when was Flash taken care of? Like wasn't that like, I don't know, 7 years ago, 8, maybe longer, 10? That Flash disappeared. Like just fucking everything was just yeeted. All the Flash stuff was yeeted. Yeah, like I mean, like, oh, do you know?
Survived somehow, which was kind of hilarious.
What happened?
Newgrounds still survived, which was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, but they're not even Flash. I don't think they use something else now. Like, yeah, but yeah, and then there's like a bunch of autist nerds, engineers that like came up with ways to like salvage and back up Flash stuff and like format the files so they can still function even if they're not Flash. And so yeah, like I asked my daughter, I'm like, have you ever heard of Flash animations or Flash websites? And she's like, she thought for a second. She's like, oh yeah, I actually know about that. There's some like person I listened to that talked about it and blah blah blah. Yeah, Flash has been functionally dead for over a decade, but you can still play a lot of that stuff using the Flashpoint Archive project. There you go. And so Flashpoint Paradox reminded me of. But yeah, like so there's like some Zoomers, and a lot of Gen Alpha is like vibing with like old shit from like the early 2000s and the 90s. which requires, what's interesting is that because of what it requires a pre-internet or a like brain rot, as some may call, perspective or experimenting, right? Because um even my daughter will say stuff that's surprising to me. Like she'll say something like, trying to think of like a good example. Like we'll watch like she's like we watch anime and stuff together, but like she'll watch like the old shit. Like I'll be showing her Sailor Moons and Dragon Ball Z's and all this old shit, and the One Piece, like the older One Piece stuff, and then and she's just like, wow, it's so much better. Like she's like, it's so like, she's like, it looks crunchy, but I like it. I like the way it's crunchy. Like I like it. Like it's almost like hearing somebody say, "Oh, there's some kind of warmth in the record player or something, and records and vinyls or some shit." But like I don't know, she's getting some out of it, and I'm just like, I'm not training her to think this way. I'm not telling her, "Oh, this is so much better," and she's just agreeing with that. No, no, no. She's just getting something out of it. Same thing with like old books and stuff. Like she'll find an old book and she'll be like, "This is cool," and she's like, "Wow," and then she'll like look through the pages and it's all musty, and she's like, "This is so interesting." That's good. And she'll like take her time to like draw things and work on things. So I don't know. I don't know. There's like, and I think that's part of the reason there's so many fucking younger Zoomers and alpha peeps interested in like low poly shit, uh, pixel shit, and like just a lot of, like I said, a lot of pre-internet shit. I think there's a novelty there, right? I think if you were born like in the terminally online world, like there's probably a kind of rebellious part of you or a novelty in investigating the pre-internet past or the early internet past, if that makes sense. There's still like people, it blows my mind. There's like still people in their like early 20s that are building like those fucking old like NeoCities websites with like fucking shitty low res GIFs and stuff. Like and they're like they're like making shitty old HTML websites. Like unironically, like they're just really enjoying it and think there's something
it's like
cool about it.
like the metalworking of the modern age. Completely functionless, but fun.
Yeah, but they try to make it function. They try to like do stuff with it. And I'm just like, wow. Like I know I gotta end the stream, but a really good example of somebody that did this. I think they're probably in their mid-20s, the person who did this, and a lot of people know about this in the weirdo horror community stuff and ARGs and shit, which I'm into. And I wouldn't say it's very niche because, like, I guess in that niche community it's already well known. But there's a series by fuck, it gets mean sometimes. Man, I can't remember, but I can't remember the YouTube channel. Oh, hold on, I have to say it because I'm gonna feel like stupid if I try to tell somebody about it and then like I can't actually. Hold on. It's there you go, Ghost Tundra. Here, I'll put the link. So Ghost Tundra. They had like 173,000 subs, so kind of blew up at least by that measure. But anyway, so Ghost Tundra is somebody, from what I can tell, they're probably in their mid-20s or something. But they made like this like horror kind of series thing called Lacey's Wardrobe or Lacey's Games. Yeah, there's like Lacey's Pet Shop, The Rabbit Hole of Lacey, Disturbing Secret Ending found in 2007. So it's like this early 2006, 2007 horror, like cursed flash game type thing. And the person who made it really captured like the kind of early, kind of weird deviant art look, the old like flash games where you do the dress up for the character or whatever. The music, they really did their studying for like like how it's supposed to sound, how it's supposed to like look, and um, and even better is if you look at their behind the scenes for some of the stuff that they produced, they also worked in practical effects, which is fucking awesome. And green screen. So they're using like green screen, they're using practical effects, like like actual makeup and like fake blood and stuff for some of the sequences in it. And I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Like that's so fucking interesting. And even better is when these people, they're not just like replicating it, right? It's not like they're just using some program that can replicate it or something. Because that is possible. I'm not saying that's bad, but it's some of these like fucking Zoomers are like building shit from scratch, or like looking for like old like green screen fucking VHS fucking chords and transistors and shit, and making stuff out of scratch with the original like tech. Like it's so fucking rad. Like there's this one really famous I can't remember her right now. She got one of her videos blew up because it was her singing Duvet from Lane, and she was doing it like she dressed like Lane and then she sang Duvet. And but like yeah, she's like legit. Like if you look at her videos, like there's videos where she talks about all of her like collection of stuff, and yeah, she has like CRTV shit, crazy. Like she, for her mic that she uses for when she talks, she uses like like a fucking dial, like a fucking old dial phone that she like hooked up and connected, so it has like the actual sound of what it would you would hear on the other side of a phone if you were talking to somebody on a fucking landline on an old phone. Like it's just really cool shit like that. Yeah. And they discover stuff and they bring up stuff that I didn't even fucking know about. And I grew up during that time period. And I'm like, what? They made that? Oh, shit, that's amazing. Or they'll like get something from that era and improve it without like fucking adding modern shit to it. They'll just be like, oh well, now that we have this understanding of this, like, oh, I learned about it and I fucking modified it without compromising like the available technology at the time. I'm like, what? That's awesome. Like you improve the old thing it's now redundant to improve. That's so fucking cool, man. I don't know. I love a love for it. But anyway, Zoomers and alphas out there that do that shit, keep it the fuck up, please. It's fascinating stuff. And even people like Luciel or Nomo here, I love it. I love that they're embroidering. I love that they are, there's people still out there like fucking trying to do some old style. They try to replicate like fucking romanticism, and they're doing it like with oil painting and like legit like, or they're like the pigments and shit they're making are being constructed out of like old ingredients or old methods of creating like paint that might not necessarily be healthy anymore to handle and shit like that. Like it's so rad. It's so fucking rad to me. I don't know. Anyway, all right, that's enough, guys. If you support the stream, if you like the work I do, if you want to check out the server or anything like that of that nature, please do so on Patreon. The link should be in the description. Support me on PayPal. Any of that stuff's really great. If you guys ever want to just see me play fucking video games and watch movies or do whatever it is that I'm doing and you're bored, I usually jump into this channel called Angst Likes Awful Media, and I'll just chill there and I'll just either play a game or somebody will be talking about something, or I'll just be just looking at shit or going down some internet rabbit holes or whatever the fuck. I'm just fucking with something. Right now I'm getting achievements on some like games that I'm working on. But you're welcome to join me there, and yeah, I don't care. Just don't expect much from me other than me talking to myself and me playing shit or whatever. That's it. As usual, when day is dark, always remember happy day.